Welcome to the Bike Talk with Dave podcast. I'm your host, Dave Mabel, and today I am welcoming the co-founder of Bivo to talk about how she and her partner and husband are disrupting the bike water bottle industry with a stainless steel water bottle. So I'd like to welcome Bivo Water Bottles co-founder, Carina Hamel. Carina Hamel, welcome to Bike Talk with Dave. I'm so excited to have you on. I want to introduce you as co-founder, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm going to say is, according to bicycling.com, you are the woman disrupting the cycling water bottle industry. Holy moly, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, so I am co-founder of Bivo. We're a performance hydration company, and our first products are metal water bottles designed for cyclists. And we've optimized the flow of the water so that you can pour and drink really easily. And one of the first questions you asked me was, how the heck can you get water out of the bottle without squeezing? So we worked with a former NASA engineer to optimize the flow. So you can literally pour the water out, the 21 ounces of water out in 8.5 seconds, which is faster than you can squeeze plastic.
I was intrigued by your ads on Instagram. I don't know how you ended up in my feed cycling something or other, but you ended up in my feed. When I say you, I mean your ads.
Yep.
Which I'm sure you're glad to hear.
Yeah.
And you have pictures of, two people like spraying water out of your water bottles, and it looks all great and looks perfect and looks like great water coming out of your water bottles, and it's an ad, so there's skepticism involved.
Yep.
And I'm telling you what, if you turn that water bottle upside down, it looks exactly like that, like the water pours out.
Yeah.
Just like it shows in those ads.
Yeah.
So, truth in advertising, I love it. So the what is, and you caused me to ask another question in the future here, of your current product lineup, which is bicycle water bottles.
Yep.
Gosh, what led to, why do you need to make water bottles out of steel?
Yeah. So my husband and I co-founded the business together, and we came up with the idea when our daughter, who's now 5, was starting to go to daycare, and she was like the most stubborn child with taking a bottle. So we were testing a whole bunch of different options for her, and she was refusing all of them. So we had to start trying plastic, and that was something we really didn't want to feed her out of, but we had to try because she was refusing everything else. So we were talking about that while we were out skiing. I was a cross-country ski racer before my product development days. And we were talking about that, and we drank out of my disgusting old drink belt that had like plastic, or it was a plastic like internal case, and then it had black mold around the rim. And we realized that every time we exercise, we were also drinking out of plastic. And so it was born out of, honestly, our daughter, we didn't want to feed her out of plastic, and then we're like, well, why do we do it for ourselves? So we were really just trying to reduce the amount of plastic for our family. And when we went home and researched bike bottles made out of metal, there was like no options out there, and we couldn't believe it. So I have a big product development background. I worked at the parent company of Keen for 5 years, and then ran my own agency for 10 years, helping brands anywhere from creative direction through to production. So I had that background, which is a great way for us to be able to develop the product. And so we were able to just go for it.
Oh, that's awesome. I know why I was intrigued by a steel bottle. Why, other than your daughter, like, what was it about plastic that you're like, I don't want to drink out of a plastic bottle?
There's a few. I think that we've all gotten kind of used to the gross taste of plastic. And one of the things that I've always said is, if it tastes bad, it can't be good for you. We actually don't know we don't really know that much about what impact plastic has on our bodies. We actually just found out 2 weeks ago, there was a study released about nanoplastics in bottled water, and there's a lot of them. And the scary thing is that they can go into your bloodstream, they can get into your brain and your intestines. And so, like, while we still don't know what that does, they're there, which is kind of it's very scary, honestly. And then the other thing is just the amount of overall waste. So these these bottles last a lot longer. I mean, we've been in the market for 3 years now, and I was actually on a call with one of our ambassadors earlier today, and I was like, do you need any more bottles? He's like, no, that's the beauty of this. I only need the ones that I have because they just last forever. And so it's a really nice way to reduce the amount of plastic going into the earth too.
Yeah, interestingly, our paths crossed because of two things in my life. One is, don't laugh at me, but Jason Momoa is from Iowa, and he was in town promoting his vodka. He has a new vodka line.
Okay.
I'm not putting that in your bottle.
People do.
If I didn't want it to freeze, then I suppose it would work. But he talked about he's also started a water company. He doesn't make water, but instead of plastic bottles, he's selling it in aluminum bottles. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. I never really even thought about drinking water out of an aluminum bottle. And I drink pop or beer out of an aluminum can. Why wouldn't I drink water out of that? So that just got me thinking. And then I literally saw the same study that you were talking about here.
Yeah.
And probably the same day I saw your ad on Instagram. And that's when I reached out, and I'm like, okay, now I'm super curious. I did actually give up. Please don't judge. For years, and it's diet, it's even worse. Diet Mountain Dew every single day. I took one to lunch at work every single day. I would look forward to it after a bike ride on the weekends, every single day. And after that Jason Momoa thing, I'm like, I don't need to have Mountain Dew. And so I got a reusable, one of the, it's not a hydro flask, but like a hydro flask.
Yep.
And I've been using that every single day. And so since that time, I've probably had 5 Mountain Dews instead of 55.
Right.
And we can kind of do the same thing with our water bottles. How many water bottles are in your cupboard that are plastic that you've had from every gravel race that you've done?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's their intended use? Obviously cycling, but every situation, do you see them fitting in every place on the bike, every type of cycling?
Yeah. So we don't recommend racing with it because we worry about a road race because people throw bottles, and so obviously you don't want to throw a metal bottle. We highly recommend it for training and everyday rides. We did do a lot of research and testing in the beginning on cage fit, and so our bottles, we took 18 months to develop our bottles, and that was partially the flow rate, making sure we could engineer it so water could come out quickly. But we also did a lot of 3D printing and fitting in bike cages, and so we put a lot of effort in to make sure that they would stay in the cage. Some cages provide a looser fit, some cages provide a tighter fit. We actually have a guide on our website to help you through that process too, because there's different preferences on cages. It's quite the topic when you talk to some cyclists, and so that's kind of helpful. But yeah, we find mountain biking, road biking, gravel biking, commuting, any type of riding. And then we also, we've done studies and surveys with some of our customers, and we found that 95% of people are using them off the bike as well. We get a lot of comments that their kids steal their bottle, and then we also get a lot of comments that they're the perfect car bottle. So we I'm a big runner, and I'm a skier. I was a cross-country ski racer, and so I use them a lot skiing as well.
Dig it. How do you carry them when you're running? Do you just carry it? Or do you have a little...
Yeah, I don't tend to carry it too much when I'm running because I can leave it somewhere, or I have 2 little kids, so I don't get out over an hour that frequently. But when I do, I have an old water bottle holder from Fisher skiing that I put my bottle in.
Like a belt?
Yeah, like a belt. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Dig it.
And then we also find that people actually don't mind the hand holder things too, that you can, there's the silicone versions, and then there's also cloth ones that people use, and those actually work great too.
Well, I'm going to call it the hand of the bottle. It feels super comfortable. What's the surface of it? It's not metal like a hydro flask.
Right. Yeah, it's a silicone coating. So one of the things when we were developing the bottle, I really hate rattling. I'm like a noise person. Noise bothers me. And so I really wanted to make sure it wouldn't make noise in the cage. And it turns out that actually the shape is more important for that than the silicone is, because we do have a raw version that people use as well. And we really find that it doesn't rattle too much because it fits the cages so well. It doesn't like move around, you know. But what we do really like about the silicone is that it provides a little extra grip in the hand, and then it also it provides a little grip in the cage too, so prevents it from popping out even more.
Well, that's kind of nice for mountain biking. That was one of my
Yeah.
thoughts was, I don't know if I'd use this mountain biking because I have lost water bottles
Yep.
popping out.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
might,
we have like if I think especially with suspension, they don't tend to pop out too much on mountain bike. Like I haven't had that complaint.
um, there's one hill at Schwamigan. We ride a fully rigid tandem, and
Ah,
we use old water bottles at that race
just
because we
lose
know
them.
we're going to lose
Yeah,
one of them on that hill.
nice.
So I probably won't be using,
Yeah,
uh,
that sounds good.
yeah.
I might come
Although
out
the
for Schwam
silicone,
again this year.
what's that?
I'm trying to come out for Schwam again this year, the race. I don't know if that's what you
Yeah,
do on the
100%.
channel, but yeah,
As listeners of this podcast know, I love Schwamigan, and
nice. Yeah,
we've gone. I've gone every year since 1999, except for two. I missed two, but we love that weekend. It's just such a great
nice.
weekend and such a fun race. So highly
Cool.
recommended. Hopefully, we'll
Cool.
see you there.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about. You sent a couple of different styles of bottles.
Mm-hmm.
There's insulated and non-insulated.
Yep.
Why the difference? Like when I'm on my bike, I don't know, I guess in the summer it's a little longer, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever use insulated water bottles. Why'd you go
Yeah,
that
I
far?
didn't either. It's funny. We actually launched with the Bivo One, and which is the single wall, not insulated. And we did that because, first of all, we didn't care about having cold water on bikes like that, because I think nobody really had it before. Or I know nobody had it before, so it wasn't really a thing that people were used to. And we went with the single wall because we were concerned about weight. So I had a lot of, a lot of my cycling. I was based in Portland, Oregon at the time, and that's a really big cycling city. So I had a lot of friends who raced in both cyclocross and road and gravel, and weight was definitely something that we were concerned about, putting metal on a bike. And so we went with a thinner gauge of metal than a standard bottle goes with. And then we also went with a single wall, specifically because we were just so concerned about weight. It turns out that people don't mind actually having a little extra weight on the bottle or on the bike. It's 6 tablespoons of water heavier than plastic, so it's not that significant. And I think that like there's less concern about weight on the bike in general now, especially with the rise in gravel riding. And then when we launched the insulated, we did that just because it was a natural next step, and we felt like we had validated our concept enough. And it now makes up 50% of our sales, or actually the one model, the bigger one, makes up 50% of our sales because people love having cold water on the bike. And now in the winter too, it's really nice to have it to keep it from freezing.
How does that do in winter? I haven't used
Great.
it outside yet.
Yeah, it does great. We have a really open hole in our nozzle, and hence the high flow rate. And so if you look at other water bottles, you can see that the water has to travel like in and out a little bit. It's not like a super straight path of water, so there's more nooks to freeze. So traditionally, and I do have a lot of experience in winter because of my cross-country skiing background, I used to like flip my plastic water bottles upside down in a water bottle holder to keep it a little bit more insulated. And because of the open hole in our nozzle, it would take a lot to freeze it. We have people I skied -4 Fahrenheit for over an hour, and there was like absolutely no issue with even our non-insulated bottle. So they do really well in winter.
Huh, even your non-insulated bottle was
Yeah, what's interesting is the bottle itself will freeze before the nozzle does. So
Yeah.
that's why the insulated is helpful, because the body of the bottle is insulated then.
Can you start with warm water? I know it says don't use hot water because it
You
comes out
can,
so dang
yeah.
fast.
Yeah, that's the thing. We gotta, yes, we do use warm water, or warm apple cider, and
Ooh.
it's quite nice to have on your adventures.
Warm apple cider with Jason Momoa's vodka? I don't know.
Sounds like a plan.
That might be a reach. That might be a reach. Okay, talk about the cap. You've talked about the flow and the
Hmm.
nozzle, but I was intrigued by that cap, what it's made out of, and then
Yep.
that long pokey thing in there.
Yeah, so there's a straw in the bottle, and that is an air straw, actually. It's not for drinking out of. So it attaches to a vent hole, and the straw itself is made out of a food grade silicone, which is an inert material and doesn't turn into microplastics. And that was very intentional. Both our straw and our nozzle are made out of silicone instead of a plastic. The lid itself is a polypropylene, which is plastic, and there was really no way for us to get around that with the way that, like, in order to have the performance element of it, it was, we couldn't figure that part out. But we're always looking for options, and we'll keep pushing the limits on that. But so the straw it connects to a vent hole, and it pushes air in, and that helps water push out. So if you think about like shotgunning a beer, you like open a hole in the bottom of the bottle, the air goes in, and the beer comes out, right?
I don't know
So
anything
it's the
about
same.
that.
I'm sure. So it's the same concept. And honestly, that was like part of the development process. That came up multiple times. We're like, okay, it's the shotgunning a beer concept. So yeah,
Huh.
that's where the straw
Um,
comes from.
you can actually suck the water out. I noticed, like when you turn it
Mm,
upside down, it's
yep.
possible to suck because of that straw in there. How about cleaning it?
Yeah, they're all removable components. So you can pull the
Oh,
straw off. You can pull the nozzle out. You can put the bottle in the dishwasher. You can also put the food grade silicone nozzle and straw in the dishwasher. We recommend washing the lid itself by hand.
good to know. And there's a little, I don't know, what do you call it?
Squeegee, the squeegee thing.
Squeegee. It's a
Yeah,
squeegee thing, yes.
yeah.
It's a round
So
squeegee thing.
we put that in there. So you just pull the squeegee through the straw to take out any gunk, and we find that cleans it quite well with some warm water and soap if you need to.
Perfect.
That's more for, like, if you do like protein or
Oh, sure.
different drink mixes in there, and sometimes you can get some stuff up in there, so you like to clean it out. But again,
Yeah.
in the dishwasher, it should be get mostly clean.
Great. Good to know. And you have something to keep what do you call it? The nipple, the nozzle
Yeah, the
clean
nozzle. Yeah.
on long, dusty gravel road rides or muddy mountain bike rides as well.
Yep, we do. Yeah, the dust cap to slap on there to protect it. We live in Vermont, so there's a lot of cow pastures, and it's nice
Oh,
to keep that nozzle clean.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so they last forever. What do we do when we're like, let's say it gets run over by the car? Is it
Hmm.
recyclable?
It is, yeah. So the body of the bottle, stainless steel, is infinitely recyclable. So that can actually just go in your normal recycling bin. The
Hmm,
lid and the silicone do need to go to, like, you'll have to get a special facility that does it. So again, that's something that we're trying to figure out a better way for customers to recycle. TerraCycle is an option you can send your components to, and they will make sure it gets recycled. But if you put those in the recycling bin, just like a plastic bottle, like a plastic cycling bottle, those won't get recycled. They will just go into the general trash.
dig it. Um, what is your future? Like, I don't know. I think about why I ask is I'm still going to wear a camelback with a plastic
Hmm.
bladder and a plastic straw and a plastic nozzle.
Yep.
Uh, are you guys brainstorming with your NASA engineer how to solve that?
That has come up. We're trying to, yeah, that's a tough one because those things are so hard to clean. We haven't figured that out yet, to be totally honest. But yeah, definitely, hydration is, performance hydration is our category. So anything that fits within that is open to become part of the Bivo line. But right now, we're definitely focused on bottles. We're new in the market. We're 3 years old. We have not gone out and raised a ton of VC money. We've done a small friends and family round. So we have to be very focused and really target the cyclist. Like, I said that the bottles work for a lot of different sports in different parts of your life. But from like our marketing standpoint, everything's going to still be focused on the cyclist. And same from a sales standpoint, just like try to gain market share there before we move outside of it.
How big is the bicycle water bottle industry? It seems like a very specific industry.
I don't have the exact number on that, but it's a $4 billion. The reusable market, water bottle market, is a $4 billion industry, and sport is the second largest use case. So it's a pretty big market.
Wow. And when you say reusable water bottle, are you talking about things like Hydro Flask?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Is something like that in your future?
Like a more
cap?
lifestyle. Yeah, we do have a cap in the works that is just like a simple screw-on lid that can take the bottle to different places. Even for on the bike, it's nice to keep liquids really hot or like coffee in there. So we have stuff like that in the works. Yep.
Dig it. I will be interested in that. I'm doing the Arrowhead 135 in exactly 12 months. It is starts next Monday, and it's going to be really warm. It's actually going to be a hard year this year. They won't have any trouble with freezing anything this year because it's going to be above freezing for most of their race. But I'm not a winter fat biker by trade. Like, I go in the basement, and on nice days I'll ride gravel.
Yeah.
So it'll be new for me, and I'm trying to solve my hydration issue for this 35 to 50 mile gaps between aid.
Yeah.
So we might have to talk next year when you, or whenever, but we'll keep in touch on that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm curious about, I have 2 kids who are aerospace engineers, and therefore I know that aerospace engineering is the study of the flow of matter through something, or the flow of something through matter, i.e., the flow of something through air, the flow of something through water, the flow of something through whatever. So I'm intrigued by your NASA engineer. Where did this person come from, and like, how did that relationship and solution evolve?
Yeah, so I mentioned that I had a background in footwear product development. So we had like a really good understanding of the product development process and how to make things in general, but we didn't know how to make water bottles. And so knowing that our problem to solve was combating plastic squeeze bottles, we knew that the water had to come out as easily or faster than plastic. And so we sought out to find an engineer who could help us with fluid dynamics and engineering the flow system. And so honestly, it was kind of like a lucky connection that we had. This former NASA engineer was a friend of one of our employees, and he lived in Vermont. And so we met with him and it, got along with him really well. So we hired him for the project. But it was great because he did a lot of fluid dynamics testing during the process, and we were able to really tackle it from a scientific standpoint, and it proved out a lot of concepts and shut some down. And so it was great to have Casey on the team.
Oh, that's fun. I know, most any engineer is going to get excited when they're presented with a new problem.
Yes, totally.
Where do people find this stuff, and how do they put it in their hands?
Yes, you can go to our website, drinkbivo.com. We also have about 200 retailers that are in right now. You can find us in some select REIs, Eric's Bicycles in the Midwest, Mike's Bikes on the West Coast, and then a lot of independent retailers. In Canada, you can find us at MEC and Bicicleta. So those are some good options for you.
And you have 4 products right now, right? 2 sizes and insulated or not insulated. What are the 2 sizes again?
So we have a 17 ounce and a 21 ounce insulated, and then we have a 21 ounce and 25 ounce non-insulated.
Dig it. What am I missing?
I think that was a good recap. Yeah.
What's your vision of the future with with Earth in the next 50 years, water bottle use will be?
I do think, I mean, I even think over COVID a lot shifted with how much people started carrying their own water around. I think like you've seen an increase in people wanting to focus on hydration and carry their own water bottle. So I do think there's going to be a huge shift. I think this nanoplastic study is also huge, and I think it's huge and scary. And so I think we have a lot of work to do, not just in the water bottle space, but just like in every, packaging. I think about my like cucumbers that are wrapped in plastic all the time, and how those things are going to have to shift. So I think there will be a change away from plastic, and I'm happy to be part of that ride.
Awesome. Well, I commend you on tackling this and seeing a problem and making it your problem and finding a solution. And I love my water bottle. It has become my bring to work water bottle. It's the one I bring my water instead of my Diet Mountain Dew. So you're getting rid of 7 plastic bottles a week.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's great.
And then, I don't know, like I open my cupboard and like literally, I'm not kidding when I say this. My wife and I both ride a lot, and open our cupboard and 1 or 2 water bottles will fall out. Bike water bottles.
Yeah.
And so when those fall out and I look at them, I'm like, I don't know what to do with them. What do I do with them?
Yeah. You can. They won't get recycled. That TerraCycle is a really awesome company, so you can send them to TerraCycle, and they will make sure that they get recycled. But it is hard to do, and so it's effort. So.
Or keep them around for that one hill at Schwamigan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which isn't a very eco-friendly thing to do. They do pick it up. There's the Goo Crew that picks it up, or whatever they're called these days. But, Carina, what a treat to meet you. I'm sure we'll meet sometime in the future.
Yes.
I want to tell people that are in the Midwest, in Iowa, here for the Ragbri announcement party, which, by the way, maybe you should put on your calendar, Ragbri.
Yeah.
I will be at the expo at the Bike Iowa booth with a water bottle and a jug of water and a bucket. So if you want to see how this water bottle works, come on over, try it out, give me your opinion, and you can sign up to win one. So hopefully we'll see all of you at the Bike Iowa booth at the Iowa Bike Expo. It's kind of a lot of bike there, but I guess that's what we do.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Well, I can't thank Carina enough for coming on today and telling us all about her water bottles. They're actually pretty awesome, and I would encourage you to check them out. And if you want to check them out in person and you happen to be in Iowa the weekend of January 27th, stop by the Iowa Bike Expo, and I will be at the bikeiowa.com booth, and you can see this water bottle, test it out for yourself. You can even sign up to win one as well. Now, if you don't make it this weekend, be sure and check out drinkbivo.com. That's drinkbivo.com for all the details. Thanks again for tuning in to this bonus episode of Bike Talk with Dave. You can find every episode at biketalk.bike or on your favorite podcast platform. We'll be back next week with Justin McCreary, Joe Laverick, and David King, who will be talking about the Rattlesnake Gravel Grind in March in Sweetwater, Texas. So we'll catch up with you next week. And remember that nothing compares with the simple pleasure of riding a bicycle, especially when you are properly hydrated.